Welcome to Job Tips, the career development channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 things you should never say in a job interview. Let's go. Okay, so 10 things you should never say in a job interview. Let's get right to it. Number 1, don't talk badly about your former company or your former boss. Sometimes interviewers will ask you to tell them something you did not like about your former boss. What they're trying to do is determine if you will denigrate your former employer, sort of talk behind their back. Because if you will, they know that you will do the same, quite likely, about them should you leave that company. And it's just in poor taste. So you can give them a very general answer that says something like, you know, we know that no one is perfect and everyone has different personalities and things about them that may not be something that we like, but I always give people the benefit of the doubt. And out of respect to people that I've worked with in the past or have worked for in the past, you know what, any issues that may or may not have ever existed between us would be left privately. You know, wordsmith is something like that. I assure you they will greatly respect that kind of response because it gives them a sense of your character. You're one who will try your best to give every benefit of the doubt and will preserve the confidentiality or the privacy or the dignity that exists between people. And that's a great character trait that you want to display. Okay? Number 2, don't look desperate. Try not to appear desperate, even if you are. Whether it's a blue-collar trades job, an entry-level job, or a white-collar job, or an executive position, try not to say anything that would indicate that you're desperate. I'll do anything for the job. Please give me the job, just give me a chance. Don't go there. Be as professional as you can relative to the position for which you're applying and for which you were interviewing, and let your skills, your personality, your everything about you come out and be the reason that they should hire you. They will not hire you just because you say, hey, I really need this job. Will you please give me a chance? It doesn't do any good whatsoever. In fact, typically is a negative moment of truth, if you will, in that exchange. Number 3, don't use the common phraseology such as, you know, I'm a results-oriented person. I'm a proven leader. I'm a people person. Those kinds of things are commonly used, and I can assure you they are hearing those sorts of things from almost everyone else that they are interviewing, unless those people have done their homework and have looked at videos like this to coach them on things not to say. So be careful that way. Number 4, don't admit incompetence when they're asking you about certain things that you may or may not know a lot about. So if they say, how much do you know about this, whatever this is? Don't say, you know, I don't know anything about that. That won't help you. What you can say, though, is that you are a quick study. And allow me to sort of back up a little bit here. Before the interview, you hopefully will have done some research on the company. You will have seen the job description based on how it's given in the help wanted ad or the online job board listing or wherever you found out about the job for which you're applying, right? So you should know enough about the job and some of the details about the job to have prepared in that regard for a question that may come up. So as far as how much do you know about this, this, or this? So every job is different, of course, so it's hard to give you an exact concrete example of how to answer what to say. But in a general sense, have a sense of what those questions might be. And if you have identified a couple things about that job that you just aren't entirely competent with just yet, have an answer prepared. So let's just say that they ask you how much you know about this, and it's one of those things that you know that you are lacking in some experience or knowledge about. Give them a sense that on related areas, I know this much. I'm really good in these areas here. They're pretty close to that, if you will, right? You kind of follow my thinking here. And then let them know that because the two are so closely connected and I'm a very quick study, it won't take long to come up to speed with that area. Something like that, if you follow my point here. That's sort of how you want to answer that question. Again, don't say, I don't know anything about that. Okay? Another one, don't ask, so what does this company do anyway? Or like, what's this job all about? Do your research prior to the interview to know enough about the company and what it does, who its customer base is, who it serves, who its competitors are, and those sorts of things. So that when you come into the interview, you have enough knowledge to be able to intellectually talk about the company itself. It will show in the interview. Next, when talking about the accomplishments that you have done in the past, stay current. Try not to bring up accomplishments that were 20 or 25 years ago. Now, obviously, if you're a younger person and you only have a few years experience, this won't apply. But there are many people who are mid-career professionals who are making job changes, right? And you may have accomplishments where you were number one salesperson of this, or you were the best at that, or what have you, 25 years ago. I can assure you that most interviewers, not that they don't care, but they won't have much interest in what you did 25 years ago. Because the skill sets required 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago may not even be relevant today. So keep it relevant, keep it current, and maybe only go back 3 to 5 years on the accomplishments. They will see other things in your resume. If you've outlined a good resume, you've written it well, and there'll be a video on resume writing. If not already, when you see this, you'll see it in the listing of videos on a really, really well-written resume. But they'll see some of those accomplishments in your resume anyway. But for the sake of the interview itself, keep the accomplishments that you've had relevant to the current time. Okay? Another one, don't ask about salary and the benefits and those kinds of things in the first interview. Now, they may bring it up later in the interview, but it is all too common in interviews for people to early in the interview to say, so how much does this job pay? Now, it may already be posted in the listing or in the ad that you answered, in the job listing, but it may not be. And if it's not, don't worry about that. You should have a general idea, if you've done your research, as I talked about a moment ago, what the salary range probably is. So don't even let it come up from you. Let it come up from them first, and then you can talk about salary and those sorts of things. You don't want to look like you're self-serving. And that sort of dovetails also about the next item, and that is, how much time off do I get? How many weeks vacation do I get? Do I have to work weekends? Those kinds of questions about time off also generally lend themselves to self-serving interests. And you don't want to be viewed that way. We all know, and interviewers know, that people like an appropriate amount of time to R&R. Their time off is important to them. But if you make that a subject in the interview itself, especially if you bring it up, it just won't serve you very well. All right? Next, when asked where you see yourself in 5 years, don't say, I want to be the CEO of this company, or I want your job, or I want to be your boss's boss, or something like that. It's fairly common for people to say things like that, but also some interviewers will see that as a sign of being impatient. And impatience is good sometimes, but not always. And it generally does not fare well for the interviewee in the interview when the interviewer hears the interviewee say that. I hope that made sense. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Here's a pretty good answer, or some variation of this. Well, I expect the first 5 years to be performing proficiently and above expectations in this current job, such that when promotion opportunities come, that I become a prime candidate for advancement. Because I always want to be seeing myself moving up, moving over, moving ahead, progressing in such a way that best benefits the company relative to my skills. And I can assure you, I will continue building my skills as I continue working in this job. Something like that, however you word that, however it relatively fits in the position for which you are applying and for which you are interviewing, that's the kind of answer that you want. Because that tells them a couple of things. One is you're patient, okay, but also that you have a mindset that says, I'm going to work at this job to become the very best I can possibly be, to make sure that I am promotable and that I'm about the best candidate for the next promotion. That tells them that they have a probable winner on their hands. And one more. Toward the end of the interview, it is very common for the interviewer to ask you if you have any questions. Don't ever say, nope, I have no questions. That answer all by itself, even if the interview went extremely well, will sink you. You need to always have 2 or 3 or 4 questions available that you can ask that are questions of good interest that will elicit more conversation from the interviewer. All right? Well, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Please like, subscribe, share, all those good things. Comment below on other kinds of videos that you would like to see, and I'll make sure that I get those out to you in due time. This is Job Tips. I hope you have or develop the kind of job or career that you want to have.